My father was an auctioneer and dealing with cattle all the time and road transport, and I guess it just went from there. Just sort of started hanging around with truck drivers and going on trips with them when I was a kid and that, and I suppose you just gets in your blood. Once it gets in, you can't get it out. I used to go with a bloke in Quilby, colleagues, and I was 14. I used to drive when it was empty. He sort of taught me how to drive, and every holiday I used to go with him driving. And then when I turned 17, I went on the highway, carting timber.
In the cattle country, every property has its major muster of the dry season. With helicopters and horsemen, cattle in the remote paddocks are rounded up and pushed 20 and 30 kilometres to the holding pens. With properties out here being known to be as big as whole countries, it doesn't come as a great surprise that they may muster as many as 10,000 head of cattle in a single day, yarded and ready to be shipped to the markets. This muster at Elliot, 1,000 kilometres south of Darwin, has enough cattle in the holding yards to keep 4 road trains running to and from the Catherine Meatworks for a week. Carrying 1,200 head in the convoy, Prickles and his mates will begin work before dawn and finish long after the sun's gone down. Their work schedule is punishing, but the rewards make it worthwhile.
I don't see how people in the cities can live, you know. Going home every night, the same old routine, you know. Have tea and go to bed, probably go out once a week or twice a week, whatever they do. I reckon it's great to get out, get away from home and out in the bush with the stars. Tourists pay a lot of money to come up here and then boil the billy and stuff like that. That's just part of the job, you know. We got to do it and we get paid for it.
Darwin, Australia's northernmost capital. The headquarters of most of the freight and fuel transporters. Their network of road trains disappears out into the inland. For Ron Heath, his life as a road train driver lets him have the best of both worlds. With his family, he lives in Darwin with the comforts of the city, and yet his job allows him to travel the remote inland.
A lot of people think, oh, good, cushy, easy job, you just sit there and you just drive up and down the road, you know, and you get paid good money for just doing nothing, you know, but it is a mental strain. Even though you go up and down the same road all the time, every trip is actually different, you know what I mean, because you might meet the same guys, but there's always something different to talk about, and they'll tell you something different that happened, and everyone has a little laugh, you know, and there's a lot of characters around. A lot of the guys I know really well are with the cattle carters, and I don't envy them one little bit, really. They earn their money, and a lot that they don't get too, as far as I'm concerned. We've got a good job, as I say, it's a cushy job, it's good money. But a lot of people say, oh, you know, you think you're better than everybody else. It's not the fact that you think you're better than the other road train drivers. We think we're what could you say the word is, luckier by having the difference of jobs. It's a bit hard on the women sometimes, sort of when you're away, 7, 8 days in a row, and times like that. But then again, I guess you make it up other ways, I think,
Based at the huge Shell depot in Darwin, he shares his time between the 2,500 kilometre return run to Alice Springs, carrying aviation fuel, and transporting diesel fuel to the uranium mine at Jabiru. The road to Jabiru weaves through the famous Kakadu National Park, renowned for its bird and animal life. Kakadu is home to the most prolific array of Australia's northern wildlife. Lush and tropical, Kakadu is virtually the opposite of the land encountered by the cattle drivers of the inland just a few hundred kilometres away. Huge water buffalo, which were introduced by early settlers, now rule these marshlands. Proud and arrogant, their stubborn nature often proves a problem to road train drivers attempting to tackle the Kakadu roads at night. The town of Jabiru would probably not exist if it were not for the Ranger uranium mine. The huge crushers work 24 hours a day to produce yellowcake for export. Its demand on power is so great that its generating plant requires 3 of these tankers to make the trip from Darwin each day. Cattle drivers don't know where their next job is. They can go anywhere, anytime. On the other hand, freight and fuel drivers tend to follow the same route time and time again. They get to know the road, its peculiarities, people along the way at the roadhouses and filling stations. It becomes a routine. Often, overcoming the boredom and staying alert on the long, monotonous stretches of Outback Highway is as trying as any other aspect of this job. Yet one of the few things the road train driver can't become familiar with is what the other motorists will do.
A couple of Christmases ago, just not far from Pine Creek, a little place, where a guy was coming towards me, and I thought, oh yeah, no worries, come along. Next one started drifting over my side. Didn't worry too much because just sometimes you drift a bit like that, As he got closer, I realised that he wasn't just drifting, he was coming right across and obviously went to sleep. I put right over to the side, onto my side as far as I could go. He still hit me on the side of the bull bar, shot his car out, hit him a couple of more times with the trailers, but very luckily no one was hurt. That was due to the fact he did go to sleep. He admitted it.
While Ron Heath sees his job as excursions into the outback from his home life in the city, for drivers like Prickles, who cart cattle, the bush is their life. They literally live, sleep and breathe their road trains for months at a time.
You're sort of working all the time during the season. You might have a day off occasionally here and there, but it's different if you're just poking along running from, say, Brisbane to Darwin or something like that on a set run, Because the cattle's it's just so hectic. 1 minute you're going flat out, and the next minute you stop, and the next minute you're going flat out. You just got to have that break after the season. When you're driving a truck, your wife's pleased to see you when you come home, and the feeling's a lot more, as if you're just working in an office and then you're coming home at 5 and going to work at 8, Everything becomes routine. Well, when you're driving a truck, she doesn't know when you're coming home or when to expect you, and she's pleased when you come home and you're happy and stuff like that.
Home for Prickles is a caravan not far from the Catherine